and we are just about to jump into this first game, and for some reason the screen's black, but it's fixed now, so that's the important thing. And yeah, this should be really, really good. What do you think of ZVZ at the moment then, Chris?
I think it's fairly good at the moment. Like, as you said, it's moved away from the Bain sort of style, and it's getting much more interesting. We're seeing a lot of late game stuff, and people are getting up to those tier 3 units much more, and it's becoming more and more important about how you use infestors, but that's pretty much every matchup that involves a Zerg at the moment. But it's really exciting. Like, I love seeing matches where you see Broodlords versus Ultralisks, like we saw in the WCS UK with Johnny Rico and Zictomony.
Yeah,
I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, exactly. There's been a lot of ZVZs at the moment that actually go past that 10-minute mark, and I think I spoke briefly about it in the news section, where basically it went from Ling Blaine All-Ins to Roach All-Ins to Roach Infestor All-Ins or Muta All-Ins. Like, literally every Zerg strategy revolved around the 10-11 minute mark. If you didn't kill your opponent then, you kind of die. But now we've seen Zergs like take a 6-minute 33rd. We've seen them go Mass Infestor into Ultralisk. We've seen them go Roach Infestor into Broodlords. Just so much variety, and just so much cool stuff happening in the ZVZ matchup at the moment.
Yeah, and I would totally agree. So, shall we introduce the players?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Alright, so, ladies and gentlemen, spawning in the top right-hand corner of the WCS Cloud Kingdom, playing for Team Fluid, we have Richie. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner as the Green Zerg, playing for Team Karnage, we have PAD.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, what do you know about these two players then, Chris?
I know nothing about Richie. This is literally the first time I have even heard of him, so this is going to be a complete surprise for me as to what he does. PAD, on the other hand, I've seen him grow an incredible amount since the first time I saw him. First time I saw him was at I-45, where he got through to the main brackets and instantly had to play Famut, who kind of destroyed him.
Yeah, Famut, a very, very good Zerg player.
Absolutely. But then we got to I-46, and PAD is really good now. He was picked up by Karnage after I-45, and they've done something. He's either been working really hard, or they have some crazy practice regime, because he played really well. He knocked out XVYE's Demon, and did a really good job. He had a very good run before being knocked out by, I think, Bling, but I would have to double check that.
Well, being knocked out by I-45's winner and I-46's second place is nothing to be ashamed about. We do see PAD going for that slightly quicker gas. He actually went gas pull when Richie went pull gas. So he's going to have speed quite a bit earlier, around probably about 40 seconds earlier than Richie, which means he could have a Baneling Nest a lot earlier as well. Do you think he's going to try and put on some aggression, or is he more of a passive type of player?
We will have to see on that, because he did tell us in the pre-game lobby that his ZVZ was his least comfortable. So, as we've seen in the past, that can usually lead to some sort of aggressive play or even a type of all-in. But we will have to see. This is a best of 5, so anything can happen, really.
Yeah, well, PAD is still collecting gas, but we're yet to see that Baneling Nest. Maybe that's just a slight mistake, because, you don't really need gas, and there's the Baneling Nest going down. So that Baneling Nest is fairly early, but he's lost his lead here, because if Richie just places down a Baneling Nest right now, and he can afford it, then, they're going to finish just about the same time, and then, that earlier gas opening for PAD is going to kind of be neutralized, and that's a little bit unfortunate.
Absolutely, there is Richie's Baneling Nest going down in the natural expansion as part of the ramp wall-off, which is pretty impressive. I do like the use of buildings for positioning, even with Zerg, where you don't have to put down that many buildings compared to the other races. It's always nice to see great positioning, but as you said, the fact that he put it down so early is not helpful to PAD at all.
No, but unfortunately, Richie didn't quite have his Zergling speed there, so that scout was denied, losing 2 lings to a Spinecrawler and, of course, PAD's lings, and gaining absolutely zero information, but now we see Pad's lings moving across the map, and they could actually maybe do some damage here, but you know, with a spine crawler and some lings and a queen, that's going to look pretty tight to me. Oh, he might snipe the queen, but no, he gets chasing off. Brilliant control there by Richie, just not overextending, just playing defensive.
Absolutely, that spine crawler just being key. No way that amount of lings would have got past with that unless they just pegged it straight from one side to the other. And we have seen Richie morph some Banelings, and we will probably see Pad do the same. There we go, morphing free on his ramp for safety. So both players moving towards that Baneling style force the defense that they really need.
Yeah, it looks like, I don't want to kind of put my eggs in one basket here, but it looks like Richie is going to go for a +1 speed timing on his roaches, and it looks like Pad's going to go straight to Mutalisks. He is banking a lot of gas. He has got 4 geysers down, making some Banelings for defense and not much else, and we'll soon see this layer is going to finish very, very shortly, and we should see an instant Spire.
Oh!
But a bad Baneling hit there. I missed it, but I seen it on the map. That looked really, really bad.
It was very bad. Richie just lost all but one of his Zerglings. 3 have come in to reinforced, but that was ugly. That was such a great detonation from Pad, just catching everything, and Richie is in full retreat with those lings. That did not go well.
No, and of course the Spire is now going down. Pad should think about taking the 3rd base very, very shortly. It looks like he's just going to go for a Muta all in. He's building so many Spine Crawlers, got quite a few Banelings as well. And this could be very deadly compared to Richie's build, because of course he is going for the +1, but the Infestation Pit is almost done, so that is going to help defend against the Mutas as long as he's got the gas.
Absolutely, but if Pad manages to force Richie into a base race, then he's going to be in a better position. He has, as you said, thrown down those 4 Spine Crawlers, and his Spire will finish up way before the pathogen glands of Richie. So he's going to be able to do a lot of damage. There's no Spore Crawlers coming down or anything from Pad right now.
No,
so,
but
Richie,
the Overseer
Richie.
Yeah, sorry, the Overseer of Richie is just about to go into the main. A big group of lings now heading to deny this 3rd base, which is exactly what you should be doing. But the Spire is so ready. 3 Infestors already on the way, and they're going to have energy. So that means that these Mutas, in theory, should do nothing. Some pretty decent Baneling hits there, and the big one. No!
That wasn't bad. That was good. He's managed to give himself the advantage and save a sword. More lings, however, are streaming across the map. Not that many are out at the moment for Pad, but he is producing 10 more to protect himself, and this 3rd is going to have to be cancelled.
Yeah.
These units will not be out in time, and we're seeing 8 Banelings being morphed in the natural for Pad to try and protect himself. And behind this, Richie has thrown down his own 3rd and is producing 2 Infestors.
Yeah, but I don't think he's going to be able to defend this 3rd. The Infestors are wandering now, and I think that Overlord did pick them up. So if Pad's paying attention, he should know that his Mutas maybe won't do that much damage and just start picking off Overlords, which I think is his plan here. We'll soon see. Yeah, he's just going to pick off the Overlords and try to get a 3rd by the looks of it, because if those Infestors catch those Mutas, it's going to be bad.
They are very spread out though, so this is good positioning from Pad here, killing off lots of Overlords. Richie still is in supply block, keeping on top of his Overlord production, but I'm really not sure why he had 3 grouped up there by the Xel'Naga Tower.
No, this is where the game gets a little bit awkward now, because basically, because the 3rd base got denied, it means that he can't start roach production, and of course he hasn't got the gas, so he needs to start producing lings, and lings are absolutely terrible against Infestor Ling. So this is where the game gets a bit awkward. Basically, if Richie can defend the Muta pressure, defend the ling pressure, and get this 3rd droned up and start producing roach Infestor, it's going to be GG for Pad.
Absolutely, Pad is moving in though with these lings and these Mutas, splitting his Mutas off into 2 groups. He's going to focus down that Spore Crawler. Part of his group isn't really getting involved, but it is now sniping Overlords. All of Pad's lings are being annihilated by Banelings now, and the Mutas do now have free reign, as the Infestors don't look like they have enough energy for a fungal. There's a fungal. So those Mutas are being held there, but they will have to retreat. They do get the Spore Crawler though, but get out of there just in time to avoid that Queen and the Infestor that just popped out.
Yeah, not the greatest of Mutalist control. There was a couple of 4 or 5 Mutalists just kind of killing an Overlord in the middle of the map for no reason at all. It looks like the attack move path was fairly not great there by Pad, so a little bit of a mistake. Maybe he could have done a little bit more damage there. But overall, he saved as much meters as he could. He's trying to drone up his third, but look what Richie's doing. Richie's making that +2 upgrade, Infestors, and some Hydralisks on the way. I think Richie's just going to get 200, and there's nothing Pad can do about it.
Absolutely, and Richie has had his third up a bit longer than Pad, and even though the harassment was there, the harassment pretty much focused on just Overlords and killing that Spore Crawler. So Pad basically did no economic damage to Richie there. He basically just killed a couple Overlords, making Richie spend a couple hundred gas to get them all back. But now he's in a bad position because he is behind economically.
Yeah, definitely. And the Mutalisks are going to swarm in, but as long as the Infestors are anywhere close, and these Mutalisks are clumped up, and the Infestors...
There's no high ground vision. He wasn't able to see him.
No, unlucky there for him. Those Infestors, if they catch your Mutalist pack, that is horrible to see 700 gas, 700 minerals just worn away there by Fungals. And these Mutalisks are still on the field, but I'm not sure how useful they are right now because Richie's at 185 supply. He's just leading in drones, but his army is just so much better than Pad's right now.
Absolutely. Pad seems to be just using these muters as a pin to basically keep his opponent in his base until Pad's ready to fight. However, that's not going to work because Pad is, as you said, now moving out pretty much maxed on roaches, and because he has his Hydralisk Den up, if he loses these units, he can just pretty much re-max in Hydras to defeat the muters.
Yeah, I think the Hydralisk Den was intended to do this 200 push, but he's realised that, wait a sec, I've just got 9 Infestors, and that's plenty enough to kill 7 Muters, and the Roach army is engaging. The upgrades are in favour of Richie right now. Some good Roach resistance from Pad, but the Infestors are coming in, some great Fungals. What's going on, Chris?
Everything is going on right now. The Infestors have just fungled almost the entire army of Pad. At the same time, Pad has gone into the main base of Richie with those mutants, but they have been picked off, and GG.
Yeah, very, very kind of quick ZVZ there. Very kind of predictable. I know I play a lot of ZVZ, but that was fairly by the book, considering the builds that both players did there.
Absolutely. You, as you just said, you've played a lot of ZVZs, and you had that under control from the start. Once you saw the timings of their gas, you knew exactly what was going on, and they played it exactly as we can expect them to play it, because the timings were basically in favor of Richie, and he was able to protect himself from that muta harass, which is really all that could have turned it around.
Yeah, exactly. I felt like Richie had the Mutalist timing down to a T. He got those Infestors just in the nick of time, and basically if those Mutas don't do damage and you can't establish your third base behind them, then you just lose. It's very, very hard to get any sort of units out because you need Infestors, and of course you just can't afford those Infestors right there.